Hi everyone, Julian here from Naturally Heal Eczema. Today I'll explain how I followed Rob Stewart's Phase 1 2.0 cleanse. First, I just want to say thank you to Rob for helping me naturally heal my eczema outbreak in 2020. When I first came across your videos, I was immediately hooked. After watching Rob's Phase 1 2.0 guide, I decided to do the 2-week program because I thought I was already eating and moving pretty well. To follow his program, I had to learn various techniques. For example, the intermittent fasting was something that I had never done before, but it is actually something that is very easy to do. So, for example, a 16-8 split means that you have an 8-hour window where you eat. Rob's coffee enema was something that I didn't do. I did his alternative. I did follow his yoga poses and his advice to do some kind of breathing and cold exposure. I used the Wim Hof technique, which was really good. So now I'll go into a little bit of detail as to how I followed his diet advice. It's basically broken up into 8 components. The first is to have a lot of broth, and he recommends bone broth, otherwise vegetable broth. I got a lot of my beef and chicken bones from the farmer's market. The second component of this diet is celery juice or green juice. I never really had straight celery juice. I always preferred to add some lemon, some ginger, and some apple into my juices to make it a little bit more palatable. I also invested in a juicer, a cold press juicer, which was about $500, and it seemed a big investment at the time, but I think looking back in hindsight, I think it was definitely worth it, because if you begin to go outside and buy juices daily, it soon adds up. The third part of my diet included leafy greens, so salad greens. It specifically excludes kale and broccoli, as they seem to be a little bit more difficult to digest. And it kind of makes sense because if you think about it, they are hardier. One thing that I did include in my diet as part of this was fresh seaweed, and I didn't have any problems with that. The next component of the diet which Rob suggests is turmeric lemonade. I used Two Brothers or More Earth immunity powder, which is a nice blend of spices including turmeric, black pepper, and lots of others. I do recommend that one. I added lemon and hot water, sometimes honey. Sometimes I had reishi mushroom tea as well, or if I was lazy, I might have just had some hot water. He also suggests berries, so there would be times when I would go through 4 small punnets a day, which is probably 500 grams or so. The other component of the diet is sauerkraut. I used gagas. Rob also suggests squash. I had lots of pumpkin and sweet potato, and that worked fine for me. In terms of fat, he suggests goat butter. I didn't use that, but I used tallow and MCT oil. For the lifestyle part of the program, which is essentially the daily habits and movement, I used a Google spreadsheet for all of the yoga poses. I did cold exposure and Wim Hof together at the same time. It can be very difficult, especially if it's very cold, but I just did it, and it is fine. It's not the greatest, but you get used to it. He also suggests resistance training 3 times a week, and so for me, the exercises that I used were squats and pull-ups, and I would always combine the pull-ups with hanging, which he suggests. It's actually difficult to find a place where you can hang, but try your local park. Um, Hopefully you can find something that works for you, or a nice tree branch. Rob also suggests dry brushing, which I didn't really do. I replaced that with Qigong. In my next video, I'll explain how I structured the 2-week program. But until then, take care and stay safe.